Hello, good morning. This is Olivia with Tarot and Coffee with olivia.godaddyssites.com. That's my website. So if you want to book me, go ahead and book me at my website, or you can get my phone number from my website. You can call me to book an appointment, or you can call me to ask me questions about what it is I'm actually doing, or what kind of services do I offer. If you have any questions about the website that the website does not answer, or about what I do, you can just give me a call, and if I don't answer, I will call back within 24 hours, probably sooner. Um, so anyway, it happens to be June 10th, which is my birthday. I'm so excited, and I'm gonna have a sip of coffee. Thank you. Mm-mm. I also wanted to say that there's no right or wrong way to do this, guys. So I've got these crystals and rocks and gemstones or whatever they are. I've got them in front of the cards so that you can pick one of the cards easily. You can use your intuition. You can see what actually calls to you, or you can just eeny, miny, moe it. There's not a right or wrong way. When I first started doing this, I was doing it as a future reading of the day, like a daily reading that you wake up and you see what the day is going to hold for you. However, a lot of people, or I don't know how many, but a few people are using this as a meditation towards the end of the day so they can look back on their day and see it almost like a past reading. So, there's no right or wrong way to do this, and I don't want anyone to be upset or afraid of anything that I'm telling you that the cards say. Sometimes there are some definite not so positive readings. Some cards have some difficult meanings. This particular deck is more positive than some decks. And I do try to stay positive. However, sometimes there are things that need to be said and need to be talked about because that's what's on the cards and that's what we're doing. If you ever do feel afraid or scared, please try not to. This is mostly for entertainment purposes. Um, and what I want you to specifically remember is that you are the master of your own universe. You're the master of your own destiny. You're the master of what happens next, except when you're not, because that happens. And that's when you need to let go and let God. Put God in the driver's seat and sit back and feel your feelings. But again, if you have feelings of fear or anything like that, please try not to do that with these readings. If you do, you can pick up the phone, you can call me, we can do a clarification reading. We can do that anytime. We can do a clarification reading for anybody. We can do other kinds of readings. I don't ever want to replace your psychologist, your psychiatrist, your doctor, or any other professional that you need to be using, because that is not what I am. I'm not one of those kind of professionals. I'm a professional card reader, which is actually legally an entertainer. So, so that's my little disclaimer. But I think it's really important for you guys, because I really do want to bring good into your life. Never to scare, always to enlighten. That's another one of my mottos. Um, so I guess we're gonna go. Oh, I talked about picking a card. Oh, it's my birthday, so I think you might see something new up there, a new crystal that you haven't seen before, and we'll talk about that when we get to it. Um, and I got some more for my birthday too. I'm so excited, but I'm not gonna introduce them all because I don't want to overwhelm you, because it's overwhelming how beautiful and amazing these crystals and stones and rocks are. It's something I've always been fond of. I don't know the metaphysical um, abilities of these crystals, rocks, stones, and minerals. I just don't. And maybe that is something I'm going to study. Probably it is. But at this point, you're just going with your gut. What does your gut tell you? What does your intuition tell you? Just pick the prettiest one if you want. You can do it any way that you want to. And I will introduce those stones right now. And I happen to have found my, voila, my spotlight so they can sparkle for you. And this is the chalcopyrite. A chalcopyrite is a copper ore, I believe. It's very beautiful and sparkly. And then this is one of the new ones I got. It is an amethyst. And what if I put the light behind it? Ooh wee! It's just so crazy beautiful. And then of course we have the honey citrine. It's almost hot as I touch it. Not really. It's nice and cool like a crystal, but the color, man, that's hot. And this is my selenite, another one of my very favorites because it really does seem to glow, doesn't it? Okay. So I'm going to turn off that light and we will go ahead and start with the chalcopyrite because I usually start from left to right. And we'll see what is under or what is behind that stone. And we have the Seven of Cups. The Seven of Cups is also hearts. I say that because y'all know what hearts mean. I don't always talk about what the other cards. Well, anyway, let's go back to this one. What do we have? Seven of Cauldrons. We have 1, 2, 3 ladies, and no more. There's a lot more people in the water. There are people we can't see. I see some other hands. There are 7 altogether, most likely. But this is a card that's about rebirth and cleansing. When I look at this card, I sometimes think of baptism, because that's where I've seen people hanging out by the river in their clothes like that. But this card also has to do with looking at things clearly with discernment, being able to tell what's going on. It's also a card that has to do if you're an artist. It's a muse card. It's a card that has a lot of meanings. If you're a musician, it's a muse card. Poetry, a muse card. It's also a dream card. Making your dreams come true, manifesting your dreams, dancing. It has a lot to do with the arts. So if you have this card today, if you're feeling creative, definitely work on your art, your music, your poetry, your dance, whatever it is that you love that you do with art. Maybe you like to look at art and critique art and be around art. I don't know what art museums are open right now, but I know I think a lot of the state is at 50% now, at least it is in Austin. 50% opening from the COVID, even though we're rising exponentially in numbers day by day, and it doesn't have to do with more testing, so some of the articles say. But we're not here to suss that out. We're here to talk about just this day, June 10th in 2020. You know what I didn't do, which I really wanted to do. Well, we're gonna move on. We're gonna move on to the amethyst, and we're going to pick up the card that is behind the amethyst, and that is the wonderful Fool card. One of my very favorite cards. I feel like for many years this was my card, the one that I felt that I most related to, and it's a childlike spirit. It's more than a childlike spirit. It's a rite of passage, like graduation. It could symbolize that. Graduation from a spiritual way into a higher, more understanding. Higher and more understanding. I'm not sure what I'm trying to say. I can't complete that sentence for some reason. Usually I can when I'm talking. Anyway, you see the baby in the front who's burning his hand. Sometimes the fool runs into some little snags like that because the fool runs full speed ahead in faith. You know, I dreamed last night that I was in a dark forest and I decided to try to run and see if I could run without hitting trees using my third eye. And I'm not sure what the outcome was. I think I did run for some time, but I think I did hit a tree eventually. I have some funny dreams. Anyway, um, you also see a guinea hen here. That is someone who, um, well, guinea hens are really good to eat, but I don't think that's what this card is talking about. And I don't even know if they're really good to eat. It just looks really good to eat to me. I like chickens, and that looks a lot like a fat chicken. More, I think what this is symbolizing is more of a what do hens do and nesting, and like it's nice to, like what, I don't know, nesting. Let's just leave it at that. Um, and then we have the mother figure that's over there that's worried about the baby. So there may be people worried about you that you're so childlike today, but it's a really great way to recapture joy. It's a really great way to move along a path and make a decision that is just with your heart and without anything else. I wouldn't suggest making huge decisions like that, but it happens and it works out. But again, like I said, this is not all the card is about. It is mostly about, especially today, what I feel as I'm holding it. It's mostly about just finding your joy today, finding your childlike bliss, maybe even doing something physically that you used to only do as a kid, maybe run, or, some grown ups. I've heard people say this, I'm a grown up, I don't run. Actually, I've said it, but that's when my knee was hurting. Okay, so we're going to move on to the what we call here on this channel the honey citrine, because we're trying really hard not to poke it in our mouth as if it's just a big old clump of caramelized honey. Not caramelized, but anyway, we're going to pull over. Oh, your card is the Seven of Pentacles. You see this man is sweaty. He's been working hard. This card really has a lot to do with your fortune or your job, or sometimes it has to do with a lot of work you've been doing with your family, because it is a card about your human side as well. But mostly it feels kind of not financial, but like when you go to seek your fortune or you go to your higher calling. Um, it feels more like a higher calling today. So it feels like you've been doing a lot of spiritual work, that you've put in a lot of effort into it. If it's not that, then it is something that you've been doing with your career. You've been putting in the work, you have been putting in the time, and you are ready to reap the fruits of your labor today. So, the thing about reaping the fruits of your labor when you've been working so hard like this, they don't always come in all at once. Sometimes it does, and it can be overwhelming. I'm not getting that feeling. I don't think it's all going to come in pile on top of you today, but I think you're going to be able to look out and see your work and what you've been doing, and how it is going to come into fruition, how it's going to complete and bring some return to you. So I'm really hoping, what came to mind is it's someone that I don't think watches this channel, but I thought of someone who's in real estate who's been really investing a lot and is really concerned about what's been going on with the economy and feels like they've been really hit hard. I don't think it's going to be the end of you, especially if you're that person I'm thinking about. I think today you'll be able to see how it won't be the end of you, or the end of your real estate career project, because I know it's not your main deal. But yeah, I would say think about the rewards you have been reaping, and think about there's going to be some good news coming in today, or you're going to actually like realize that. Oh, okay, we're going to move on over to, I started moving over physically before I was ready, to our, I almost called it a moonstone. It's not a moonstone, it's selenite. But my daughter, Selene is one of the names of the moon, and one of my daughters has that name also. The Three of Swords, this looks like a painful card because you see in the forefront there is a woman and she is crying. You see in the background there's someone who's been wounded in battle. Um, so what this card with the swords, oftentimes that has to do with your inner self, your inner mind, your thoughts, your feelings, and your subconscious. So if there's a when I see this card, I think it's kind of something really painful that has to happen. It's not necessarily horrible. This person in the background, I do not feel, as I'm holding this card today, I do not feel it's an actual death of someone. It is actually a cutting loose, a letting go. Even when you know it's time to break up with someone, or even when you know you need to stop being friends with that person because you really don't work well together, um, or there's been harm done as a result, you have to break away. And it can be really sad for all involved, but it's necessary. And that's what I think of when I see this card. So if you're having this card today, it may be maybe you're changing your beliefs. You know, a lot of people tell me I can't believe this or I can't believe that. The truth is you know, we are given our beliefs as we grow up and we form our beliefs. We become independent from our parents and from the things that we've been taught at a certain age, and we start believing differently. It also happens again when we become young adults and get out on our own. A lot of people say, you know, I've had people tell me that are agnostic, you know, I wish I could believe in God. Well, the truth is you can if you want to. We can change our beliefs. This may be an old belief you're having to get rid of. It's really sad to learn that the tooth fairy is not real, but guess what? The tooth fairy is real. There's really someone putting something under your pillow, and it really is money. At least for some of us. Anyway, real is debatable about what is actual and what isn't. But anyway, we can talk about that some other time. I just want to let you know that whatever decision it is that you have to make, or if you're changing your belief system, it's okay to mourn. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to I had a friend once that every time we got together, we got in such huge trouble every single time. And this was in my adulthood. We weren't children. However, I had to stop seeing her. I had to break it off. It was too much trouble, too much of the time. It was really sad for me, even though I'm the one that initiated it. It was hard, and I still feel sad about it because I miss that person. We had a lot of fun, but I don't like jail. We didn't ever end up in jail, but we were certainly, whew, trying things, trying the patience of reality. This is your thought of the day. I'm putting it at the end accidentally. It's happiness and joy flow from deep within me. This is that Dr. Weiss deck. He's a psychiatrist. I don't always, let's see what the back of the card says. Contentment comes from within. It is not dependent on other people or external things. Contentment comes from within. It's not dependent on other people or external things. This is a really difficult concept for me. Happiness and joy flow from deep within me. I have a trouble with chronic depression. Um, so for me, it seems like deep dark depression flows deep within me. Um, but I do understand the concept. A lot of times, you know, we get it, we get the concept, but we don't actually get the truth of it, or we don't actually get, or you know, and maybe it's not true for us. In this case, I think it is true because I read a book called Night, um, and it is about a man in a concentration camp. I'm trying to think of Wiesel. I think the author's last name is Wiesel, spelled with a W. Elie Wiesel. Um, that book Night, that shows the spirit of a person that is in a concentration camp, that is seeing the suffering of so many people and is still able to bring happiness and joy to those he interacts with. It's a really good book. It is not depressing. It is something I recommend you read. It will bring you some tools, it will bring you um, some understanding that you hadn't had before. And you know what? We're at 20 minutes. I've gone really long today. It'll take a while to upload this. And I am already late because I slept in. I had a wild night. But anyway, I love you. I appreciate you watching. I really, really do. And I hope that you'll come back. Thank you. Oh, like and subscribe.